Welcome back to Lost Legacies, a Hidden City Book Company production. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
And I'm Dad.
We're joined by Dad.
Hey!
It's been a while, Pops.
Hi.
I'm trying to remember the last time we had you on. It's been that long.
Been a while.
Yeah, okay, so typically when Dad comes on, we have an Ask Dad episode. So we just sit down and ask Dad a bunch of random questions and we just talk for an hour. This one's going to be a little different because this time we're asking Sam.
What?
Yeah. All right, well, first off, Sam, we haven't really got to really decompress this past month because you were so busy and then you went to go film, then we had to jump into the Lost finale. So just,
Oh boy.
first off, how have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. Yeah.
Nice.
No, things have been good.
Now that you're post filming, what have you been up to? Are you relaxing?
Yes and no. Looking for festivals that we can submit our film to. And keeping tabs because our film's not done yet. So we're trying to make like a spreadsheet and say okay, here are some of the festivals for later in the year that we might want to hit up and submit to. So the work is never done.
Yeah. So okay, we have experience behind the scenes, So when this episode, we gotta speak for everyone. All the people who have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh boy.
People who are learning for the first time, this is for them.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind. We're not talking to the professionals here. In other words, dumb it down. For the common people, the plebeians.
Wow. Way to sell yourself. Jeez. I agreed to do this. Episode.
But I guess just also, since Dad and I are both recorded, we're kind of getting some echoes. So if you hear echoes, listeners, that's the price you have to pay for having all of us. But I guess kind of just sum it up, Sam, because we've been talking about your short film for months. So anyone this is the first time listening, what did you do?
Wow. Okay. Well, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, welcome. Sorry that this is the first episode because we're not talking about Lost today. What we are talking about, we're talking about the short film that I flew out to LA to go help make a couple of weeks ago. So, made a short film called Lechuza.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a scary film, spooky film. My frequent collaborator and my best friend for going on a decade. Can I say that? Is that true? Yep, that math is mathin'. Well, yeah, going on a decade, maybe a little after. He wrote a script. He wrote a horror film. And we had full intention of, going out and making this thing. We decided that we should probably make a short film, what's called a proof of concept. And that is a short film that you can make and shop around, when you go to investors or go to producers or studio, say, hey, I made this thing. This is what I can do if you're interested in financially backing it. So that's essentially what we did. We took some of the scariest and best parts of the script, mashed them together for our short, and that's what we worked on. That's what we went to go shoot towards the end of May.
So it's enough that it still stands on its own as a short film, right? Anyone could just watch it and enjoy it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That was one of the things too. Like, we didn't just want to take I say we took a couple scenes and mash them together. That's oversimplifying, but essentially the idea is to take the core elements of what the movie is about and sort of put them together so that, you know, we can sort of see it in like a microcosm, you know. And it's like this is what we can do and this is what we want to do within, you know, X amount of time so that, you know, we can do it on a bigger scale.
Mm-hmm. So, and y'all had a successful Kickstarter.
Yes, we did.
So, okay, well, first off, before I get into Kickstarter, Sam, I just got to call you out real quick.
Uh-oh.
You've known Mickey a lot longer than a decade.
Have I?
Let's put it this way, Sam. You've been, I hate to put you on blast in public on the podcast where who knows who's listening. You've been out of high school over 10 years, Sam.
Have I been out of high school over 10 years?
Oh, yeah.
Look, I don't think about things like that, okay?
What is time? What is time?
Hey, look, time is a lake. You know, it's happening all at once. It's there, it's gone, it's over there. You know, I don't think about that stuff. I don't worry about that stuff. Yeah, okay, yeah. So I guess met 2006.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's over 15 years.
Oh,
where did you meet him?
Met him in high school.
Oh man,
yeah, met him in high school. Yeah, we weren't exactly like friends the first time we met, but then like as we went through school together, yeah, we became friends. Yeah.
It's typically how people meet.
Do you want me to answer your damn questions or not? Jeez, you're throwing out facts, you know, blindsiding me with this whole you've been out of high school more than 10 years. All right, okay, calm down. How long have you been out of high school, huh?
Oh god, Matt? A lot longer than that. Oh jeez.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He's gonna start asking y'all questions about stuff.
But this isn't about Sam's high school experience. This is about filmmaking.
That's a whole other episode.
Oh no.
Never to air.
Okay, so let's see. So I guess the Kickstarter, just kind of real quick, just like, again, for the layman, why did you decide to do the Kickstarter, go the Kickstarter route? And I guess like what were the challenges and benefits of doing that? Because I think that's kind of step one for a lot of people, especially a lot of people looking to make movies, you know, especially with all the cameras we have now. We have cameras in our phone. Back in my day, the biggest challenge to making a movie was finding a camera. Now it's so easy. So I feel like now it kind of comes down to anyone can make a movie. So I guess the next big step is going to be the funding, you know, to actually do something where you could. This is a thing where a bunch of friends went to go film something, but like you paid your actors, you paid the cast, the crew, and for the location, this was a legitimate production. So to me, it feels like the biggest hurdle, step one, would be the funding. So what were the ups and downs from Kickstarter?
Okay, a lot of different little pieces in that, but essentially what it came down to was we know Kickstarter. You know, I know there are other fundraising sites out there, but we know Kickstarter the best. For everybody who also don't know this, Mickey and I, we are frequent collaborators. We've made a comic book together, which we successfully funded both the first issue of that comic and the first volume of that comic. So it was sort of like, well, we've already done this before, and we know that this is we know this platform essentially. And we did discuss it, Mickey, myself, and our other producer Valerie. We did discuss like, well, is Kickstarter the best way to go? Because there are things out there. And Kickstarter, they tell it to you. It's in the fine print. It's an all or nothing campaign. So you either meet your goal, or you don't. And I think for us, it really did just come down to, well, we know Kickstarter the best, and if we were going to go somewhere else, we would have to learn, learn that site's features, learn what it can and can't do. And since we already knew Kickstarter, we just decided, nope, this is the route we're going to go.
But like, what do you do then? Like, okay, you get, I guess first off, how quickly do you get those funds? Is it like an automatic thing?
Nope, it is not. I want to say it's up to 10 days, maybe 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because what happens is, like when people donate, they'll essentially take that as a transaction, but they'll hold that transaction until the end date. Because if it doesn't, if for whatever reason the goal is not met for that campaign, they'll cancel the transaction so they can take that hold off of people's accounts. So what we do in that time, there's usually some discrepancies with some payment, either somebody put in the payment wrong or something like that. But those 10 days to 2 weeks is to sort of notify everybody to say, like, hey, you have X amount of people who need to be contacted for that information. It's a little bit, it's a safety net for both the creators and for the people who are sponsoring.
I guess what I was asking about Kickstarter, I guess it kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, doesn't really or didn't apply to the film, unless I'm wrong. But because in the past, with your comic books, you had something physical. So I guess that's what I was kind of asking about, like the challenges and stuff like that. But this one, it's basically what you're giving is the final product, right? So, and you're not at the point yet, because there were rewards, and you are going to have to ship, right? Are y'all shipping copies, physical copies, or?
Yes, that was part of the tiers. We're going to be making physical copies and then shipping out to the people who sponsored that tier.
So those were all steps you had to take, I guess, even before Kickstarter, so you all knew what was up, right? As far as figuring out how are you going to get this on a disc or get this digital, all that.
Because, and that's something you talk about, while you're trying to come up with stuff, because you need things for every tier. And the more tiers you have, those are more things that you have to think about. Well, okay, what are you going to provide for, the $50 tier can't be the same thing as the $25 tier, so there's got to be more incentives to go through. And we did add, and we changed a couple around during the campaign. We didn't try to do that too much though. But that's just one of the things that comes up sometimes. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, like we'll add another tier. I know we did that specifically with artists. We said that we would put your artwork somewhere in the movie. And that was something that came in, I want to say maybe halfway through or a little bit further halfway through, just to get a little bump up in donations.
Dad, any questions so far? So, this is all the pre-production stuff right now.
Okay, so since I put my money in, do I get credit as a owner, producer?
Did you donate to the producer tag, to the producer tier?
Oh crap.
I don't remember. I'd have to check my email from Kickstarter.
Okay, we'll check your email on Kickstarter.
Because typically an associate producer is someone who just puts money into it, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're like an actor or something who's been with the project for a while and you're helping.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so the chances are that my $4.95 isn't gonna get my name on the credit then.
It depends where the decimal is.
Yeah, there you go.
Fair enough. It was $4.95.
Okay, all right.
If we're gonna split hairs here,
You're gonna get a special thank you in the credits.
And that doesn't include what Kickstarter took.
Ooh, yeah, I know. Let's not go there. Let's not talk about that.
Okay, so I guess just to wrap all this stuff up so we could move on. What was your favorite part about pre-production?
Ooh, favorite part about pre-production. I would say favorite part was assembling the team.
Just like a heist movie.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's yeah, it was cool to see and meet everyone. A lot of the people that we ended up working with were people that honestly Mickey knew. Just from his experience, from his years out there in LA, the different jobs that he's worked. He was able to meet just the right people who all said we're totally down to help, and some of it is a little bit like we'll help you out this time, and like we'll help next time, stuff like that. But but yeah, that was one of the fun bits, like filling in, like when you start, you have a blank slate, you have it's sort of like what's that game where you have all of the we have the it's a board and there's the same pictures on both sides, but you're trying to guess who like the other person is. There's like a card. Guess who? Is that the game?
Guess Who, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out who the killer is or something like that.
Yeah. Well, no, that's Clue.
Well, no, that's a completely different game.
Guess Who is just who?
The one, yeah, they flip, right? I thought there was.
No, there's not a murder component to that.
Hang on a second. So when you play Guess Who, you're just guessing random people?
Yeah, you're just guessing a guy. You're guessing a person, whoever's on the thing.
Well, my version of Guess Who was much more exciting because I was looking for the killer.
Wow. Okay.
Man, I think y'all been playing it wrong. I don't know.
I guess.
And when I say y'all, I mean the world, because I had fun playing it.
Wow. Okay. I could be wrong. So sure. Yes. Guess Who.
So filmmaking is like Guess Who, but not Clue.
But it's sort of a reverse, because you start off with all of the flaps down and you're like, okay, I have positions that I need filled. So who's going to fill that position? I'm like, oh, well, it's going to be this person for sound, this person for editing, this person for makeup, for director of photography, actors, this whole row comes up, it's kind of like that, it's you're just trying to find all the people who are going to fit into the thing. And then of course, like rehearsals, it was a little weird because we were doing most of these meetings on Zoom, because everybody's in different areas. I'm in one part of Texas. Our other producer, Valerie, is in another part of Texas. Mickey's in LA. Most of the other people, cast and crew, were in Los Angeles, but not all in the same area, so like we're all doing a bunch of different meetings, most of the time. That's a thing that they don't show in the movies. How many meetings you got to go to just to get everybody on board.
Yeah.
And then just to keep everything on track and, keep on the meetings, lots of meetings. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's all fun. But, it's all good because at the end of the day, we're all sitting down talking about how are we going to make this thing? How are we going to make this work? And that's the exciting part. And when you've got people who, have read the script and, they're like, yeah, I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to see how it turns out. Like, yeah, like it's fun finding people who want to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I got a question for you though.
What's your question, Pop?
Okay, so in the beginning, it sounded like you had an overall concept of what this larger uh, full length movie was going to be about,
Mm-hmm.
but then you changed it to do the smaller one, a short film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how did it work? Taking, I mean, I'm assuming you had some type of script for the longer one. What did you have to do to bring it down to make the shorter film? What? How did that work? Was that between you and Mickey and just seeing what would work in a fixed amount of time, or was it more? Hey, we want to tell this story as quickly as possible, and the time is whatever it's going to take.
Mm-hmm. Very good question. Thank you, Pop. So a little it honestly it's a little bit of both. We have I'll say that we have a draft, we have a version of the feature written. And when it came time to, start thinking about like, okay, how are we going to get this made? The initial goal was to just make the feature.
Mm-hmm.
But just with the idea of like, well, we want to pay everybody, we want to have an actual location, we want to have good equipment, yeah, I guess, we Mickey and I, we've been making some short films, for, I guess, over, a decade now, close to 2, technically. Easily. So, we've been kind of doing that for years. And that was sort of the mindset we started going into it when we said like, yeah, we want to make this, but times change. And, now, just where everybody's at, we're like, no, like we want this to be a production. We want this to not just put on, YouTube, or something, or just show our friends. Like, no, we want to put it out there. We want to, get it in front of an audience. So when that conversation comes up, it was starting to become apparent that whatever it was going to take for us to make the feature was going to be expensive. So that was sort of the necessity, or that became the necessity for us to take the feature and sort of boil it down to, and not saying that like, oh, we're cutting out all the fluff, we're cutting, out all this, but taking, like what I said earlier, like the core elements of, okay, like what is this main story about? It is about someone who's lost their mother and someone who cannot process that grief, trying to find a way to bring their mom back, and then messing with the natural order. There comes, terror. There are rules for breaking the laws of, God and nature. So taking those elements and then, because it's one thing to just say like, oh, we're just going to film scary stuff. We're just going to be creepy. We're going to throw creepy things on it. Jump scare. Like that's a certain type of filmmaking that we recognized and that we might sometimes enjoy, but that's not the kind of stuff we wanted to make. when we were pitching the movie, we said that it was a combination of The Evil Dead and Hereditary. And I know both of y'all have not seen Hereditary.
Yeah.
So, and for everybody who's listening to an episode of a podcast called Lost Legacies, I don't think y'all have also seen a movie called Hereditary. And if you have, great, fantastic. It's very scary. I'll never watch it again. But and essentially what I'm saying is that we're taking this idea of exploring grief and exploring how you either are able to process or to not process that grief, and how in this process this process isn't insular. The things that you feel and the things that you experience and the things that you decide to do in this process, they have an effect. And they have an effect not just on you, but they have an effect on everyone. And so when you make a decision, that decision affects other people. So I don't know if that answers your question. I think I got off on a tangent now that I think about it.
So I'll just jump in and say that, like, y'all really wanted to make a short that would encompass what you wanted to make, what you want the feature to be.
Yes.
Y'all went that route instead of just making a trailer, because that seems like it would be probably easier and there would be a lot more of those jump scares. Mm-hmm. But you really want, for whoever sees this, either at the festival or a potential buyer, mm-hmm. You want them to get some kind of idea of like, hey, what this would actually look like as a 90-minute or 2-hour movie. Mm-hmm. These are the themes and feelings we're getting. We want.
And we did cut together a small trailer that was all stock footage. Mm-hmm. And we put that on our Kickstarter, and we use that to sort of also help sell the Kickstarter. Like, hey, like this is sort of the idea of what we're going for. And I think, like that's good. That's a way that that a lot of people have, made movies or gotten things made. They take, footage from other places and use that. And like what we wanted to do, we just wanted to like further sell this, mm-hmm. So we did that, and then we used the Kickstarter to make this short film that is in turn going to, hopefully propel us to getting a feature film, a mm-hmm. feature length version of this made.
And now, instead of seeing this little stock footage trailer, people actually see what y'all can do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And for, again, beginners, people just trying to learn how to filmmake.
Sure.
Did I actually use that?
I think you did.
I did not use that correctly in the sentence, but for those of you actually looking to filmmake, that's something to keep in mind too when it comes to Kickstarter or any kind of crowdfunding things. You have to show up with something. Mm-hmm. You can't just have a page with info on it. First mm-hmm. off, if you want to be successful, I consider like a video minimum. Sam and Mickey, their first thing was a single issue of a comic. They still had a video though, talking about why they're making it, what their influences were, who they were, all that stuff. That's really the only way to get anyone to notice anything these days, whether it's crowdfunding or social media. Like, you have to have some kind of video. Mm-hmm. So that's just a little tip from the outsider who has donated to a lot of Kickstarters. So I think I should be an associate producer as well, but I didn't pay for that tier.
Hey, you're going to get it. You're also going to get a special thank you credit in the credits.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah. Okay. So actual production, you're showing up, you're there, you're filming. Talk mm-hmm. about that a little bit. I want to know the craziness, the chaos, because also y'all Y'all had a very short span of time to film this thing.
We did. We had a very limited time. We had 2 days, and we had 8 hours
Each day?
each day.
Wow.
Wait, hang on. trying to think. Yeah.
Roughly.
We had roughly, it was about like 9 hours, I would
That's
say.
crazy.
Yeah, for
If you've never been on a set before, that is insane. Like a short day on a film set is like 12 hours.
yeah.
So the fact that y'all were able to knock that out in 2 8-hour days
Mhm.
is just crazy to me.
And that's not accounting for like, well, I mean, uh I guess it is like in those 8 hours you have to set up,
Mm-hmm.
which means we already have to know where we're shooting, what rooms we're shooting in, how are we going to light this, where are we going to put lights, where are we going to move the camera, all that stuff, and filming the whole thing, but then also taking down. So those really shoot time, is about 6 if you think about it that way. Because you've got an hour of maybe setup and then you're shooting, and then you've got like an hour, breaking, trying to break stuff down, for end of day or on the second day of shoot to get out of there.
Yeah.
But we got it all. We got it all. We got most of it. There were some snafus, that we had, and that's what happens in any production. Just equipment decides not to work that day, and you kind of have to roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there were several times on both days where we just had to say, okay, like what are we gonna do? And it's a lot of it is waiting, waiting for setup, waiting, to get everybody in place, but it's sort of like in those times where something's not working, is when you sort of have two options. You can either just stop and say, well, I guess we're done for the day. Everybody go home. We'll figure it out tomorrow. Or you figure it out then. You problem solve and you say, okay, fine. That's not working. What's working? What can we go shoot? What can we go do? And those were sort of the things that we had to do. I think because we only had these 2 days to film the bulk of it, and we really did film the bulk of it. There are a few scenes that still need to be shot, but we're going to take care of those later. But I want to say about 95% of what we need, we got.
Nice.
Yeah. And it is a testament to the cast and crew, everybody for, coming in, knowing their lines, and, also being capable and willing to just roll with the punches, because
Mm-hmm.
while the crew is trying to set everything up, the actors are also getting their wardrobe on or getting their makeup done, or most of the time sitting, waiting for their scenes. So it is it's a testament to everybody who came in and was super professional. This is like the first professional thing that I think most of us have worked on. So, so the fact that we were able to get as much done as we did, and everybody was super friendly, everybody was really nice, and everybody showed up to do the job and they did the job. I can't think of a better experience, to have.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's good. Not a lot of filmmaking experiences go that route, especially like when you say, for a lot of you, this was your first like professional experience. Trust me, I know. I know how people who don't have that experience, how one, it can go, things can go bad just because they're jerks, or two, it's just the pressure of it,
Mhm.
and, you know, trying to figure it out. Some people have courage under fire, other people do not. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I have a lot of experience, not me personally, unless I'm the jerk. But I was gonna say, I have experience being on sets where things, either they either go wrong or just unpleasant. Nobody wants to be on set with someone who's unpleasant.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm glad everything worked out for y'all. Cool, very cool.
Thank you.
Dad, any on set questions, Dad?
Well, um, in my limited, and I mean incredibly limited movie making experience,
Mm-hmm.
which dates back 40 years ago.
Oh, that's more than 10 years, Dad.
That's more than
Wow.
10 years. Okay.
Wow.
So we did, uh, it was a college film, junior college, and we did it on 8 millimeter film.
Mm.
We There was no such thing as digital back then.
Yeah.
Wow.
But everything that you were talking about having to set up actors being having makeup and costumes and lighting, sound, we had to do all of that the same way. How do you light? Some, uh, I don't know about you, but with us, half of our film was outside, the other half was
Mm.
inside.
Mm.
So in the outside part, we had to be very diligent about the time of day.
Mm-hmm.
So you had continuity
Mm-hmm.
because we couldn't get everything, all the shots we needed in one day. We had to do it across 3 days, but that locked us into the same time of day for 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, for continuity, we literally had to hand crank the cameras
Oh wow.
and film on 8 millimeter, and then have that developed, and then come in and hand splice this together, match it with the sound.
Oh man.
Man.
It was fun. It was just so much fun because it was hard. It was
Mm-hmm.
hard. Now, in your case, you're doing everything digitally. I'm assuming all your sound and all your video is locked into one file that can be edited. Okay, I'm showing my ignorance as to how you make a film right now. Okay, but in my limited experience here, I'm sure from that standpoint, it's easier because you're not having to match up film to a separate audio file. Now, maybe you are, but
Yeah.
you know, but anyway, I went on a tangent there. The setup, the lighting, the costumes, all that kind of stuff. Those are
Mm-hmm.
the things you can kind of count on of the being the same from one movie to the other. You rely on the professionalism of the experts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you had a good experience. That you were able to build a team that you all could work together.
Thank you.
And that's good. I think that's a testament to you and Mickey, you know. But the actual time constraint of only having 2 days, that right there is a job well done. Good learning process. Your skills moving forward. Um, all of that is just building on yourselves, and that, I think that's awesome. And that's a proud papa talking right there.
Thanks, Pop. And And I will say, to your point about matching up the shot and the audio, we technically still have to do that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So the way I believe it is, because we were filming we were filming in 4K.
Oh,
Oh.
Crisp, clean.
that's one more than 3.
Exactly. This is some high definition, image quality we're talking. But when you try to upload that, it's a lot. It's a lot of information. So most of the times what happens is that it will create two separate files. At least this is the way I think I'm imagining. I remember Mickey sort of explaining it to me, but yeah, it will come up in two separate files. So you have the image file, and then you'll have the audio file, and so sometimes you'll have to still go look and like just try and match stuff, but it's not as complicated, but there are still complications, because if it downloads wrong, or it gets imported, wrong, even just the way we shoot, if there's some sort of corruption on the disc or anything like that, like it will get sort of mixed up, and so we'll have to go digging for that, because Mickey's editing right now, and he's saying like the way that his files have been imported, like some of the audio doesn't match, so he'll have to go and find that, and so it's all same problems. It's kind of good, it's kind of reassuring to hear that the same stuff that you experienced and that you dealt with, that we're also experiencing now, 40 years later.
Yeah.
It's all the technical stuff, like for listeners, Sam and I were able to study and do some filmmaking in high school, because that was something they offered in our school, and that wasn't digital. Like we had digital, but that was like eventually, we were running around with big old cameras with like VHS tapes, right? Were they VHS tapes?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they
Some
were
were.
VHS tapes. Yeah, and then some of them were like the smaller
The little smaller
tapes.
tapes.
Yeah,
But like I remember filming a skate video of all things, and we had the big giant, it felt like a news reporter camera, because you had to carry it over your shoulder and you had to put the VHS tape in. And that's what we edited with. So you stick it in the machine. So we were actually cutting and splicing these VHSs together. Don't screw up. That's all I
yeah,
can say. So it's like the same problem, but it's just it's like what you get in convenience and mobility, you have to pay for somewhere else. I feel like that's the advancements with anything, but especially film. It's easier to carry this and that, but you got to worry about this and that. It's all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
But that was still fun. And then like a few years after that, I was at film school, pretty much doing digital only. Still the same problems, same issues. You just different sources and different ways to solve it. So, but it's always nice talking about the technical stuff. But I want to talk about the like the team as well, and the set. Like once you're there, Sam, you're such a fan of just film and horror films. What did it feel like? What was it like to be on that set and to be around the blood and the cameras and the lights and the screaming? What was that like?
Well, I think it helped that the house was very eclectic.
You could say spooky.
Yeah, it was spooky. Yeah, it was very spooky. In which the owners of the home, like that, they know, and that's kind of why they have the house to begin with, to rent out to different film companies and studios, so that they can shoot there. But yeah, it sort of gave me it gave me a greater appreciation for movies.
Mm.
I really genuinely do not remember who said this, but the entire time we were filming, there was a phrase that was going in my head, and that phrase was, every single movie made is a miracle.
Mm.
And while we were shooting, I was like, yep, it sure is. Like, it is, it's very glamorized, you've got the glitz and glamour that people have, this perception of Hollywood and of movie making, and all that. But it is a job. And it was kind of like day two, we woke up and we were like, okay, let's have some breakfast and let's talk about what we're going to do today. Okay, so we had breakfast, do that. We got our ride over there. We got there, and then it was like, okay, we're back at it. That's where the camera was. These were the actors were. This is our craft table. By the way, our craft services table was great. We provided all of the craft services ourselves. So, just saying. If you key to making great movies, or at least great connections on set, have good craft services. So it was fun. It was fun. And I, like, since I'm very new to this, it was so fun and really cool just to see, it's like, okay, like, this is how much work goes into just, like, we filmed so many shots down this one single hallway both days. Because we use that hallway, like, there are things, it's like, the entire script takes place inside of a house. So, we're kind of revisiting the same locations for a few scenes. And it's sort of like, by the end of day, middle of day two, we were just like, if we have to shoot one more thing in this hallway, I'm going to lose it. So let's not shoot anything here anymore. Cool. We're done. We don't got to shoot anything. Great. We've moved on. We're going over here. But yeah, it really just gave me such an appreciation, for a bigger appreciation for movies that are getting made, because I think about this and how much work it took to make this, this thing, this is going to be a short film, I don't see this going, over like 20 minutes, if that. So if in 2 days we were able to do this, well, how the heck do they make some of these other movies, and I'm not even gonna, like, imagine like something like a Mission Impossible, or a Batman movie, because those are huge. I'm just talking about, like, people that have a little bit more money than we do, going out and, like, oh yeah, we're gonna go make another Friday the 13th out here in the woods. Like, that's that's gonna be multiple days of this, and just it's a lot. But I was and I think overwhelming would be the right word, but it was overwhelming in a way that, like, man, this is fun. This is exciting.
Yeah.
And I know it might not be that every time. And I know, there's, hearing stories, like, oh, this set was grueling to work on. This film was, it's like turning teeth, this movie set to work on. And I'm like, I understand that's probably the case, but I'm very glad that wasn't the case here. I just thought it was exciting. I thought it was exhilarating. And I will say, like, even though I was very glad that we had the 2 days and we got everything in the 2 days, I was a little sad that we didn't have a day 3.
Mm-hmm.
I was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's a good feeling to have, especially at the end of a shoot.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting, like, just statistically alone, that everything that needs to go right to get a film made, it's crazy. It's impossible. You know,
Mhm.
you have better statistics winning the lottery or something. Even the bad films, like so much needs to go right to get them made and out there to the public. It's crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. That's cool. I have so much more questions, you know. We'll get to them eventually at some point. Including like we're gonna have to get some updates. Like once you're done with editing and it's off to festivals and stuff, we're gonna
I
have
know
to.
I'm technically supposed to be writing a Kickstarter update right now, but
Oh,
I
geez.
had to set
There you go.
aside time to for this podcast.
Yes, priorities. I like it.
Priorities.
So,
Yeah.
also, listeners, if you didn't know, the director of this movie, Mickey, is a friend of the show. He's been on a couple times, as well as Amy Cassandra Martinez, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Mm-hmm.
friend of the show.
Also,
And
friend of the show. Also been on the show a couple of times, and is the star of our short film.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to get them back at some point to talk about it.
Yeah. Hopefully sooner than the Halloween episode.
Oh, maybe. I don't. But guys, I don't know. I don't watch scary stuff, so I might be a little critical of your movie.
Mm.
Guys, I didn't like it. Why not? No, it's too scary.
Then it did its job.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
So-
I'll be in the same boat with you, Matt.
Okay, so lastly, Sam, to wrap up,
Mm-hmm.
like, what do you have some kind of time frame or something that your eager fans are can look forward to? Like, I know you said you're still in the post production right now, but you are looking into festivals. Do y'all have like a goal or a time frame of when you want it to be ready and or released?
Well, yeah, we've got some goals. I kind of don't want to say anything here just because, like, don't want to, like, that's still stuff that, we're,
Hackers. Got it.
yeah, exactly. Hackers. I will say this. We did shoot the bulk of our script in those 2 days. There are some additional scenes that we still need to get. The details of that are being taken care of right now. But we're also in the process of editing what we have. And our sound designer, Camille, she's hard at work coming up with some cool, fun sounds for to really sell this thing, to really help amp up the spookiness.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so we're we are kind of we're hoping that like a late July situation is when the thing will be officially done. And that's done with shooting, done with editing, all of that. We're hoping for late July. It may be longer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we definitely want to try and hit the festival circuit. I don't know, late fall.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, but yeah, if you follow, well, I'm not so great at posting on my own social media, but if you follow our film social medias, which we'll put in the descriptor of this and all that, and I'll try and be sharing stuff. Yeah, like you'll get those updates, and if you're a backer of the Kickstarter, you'll be getting an update pretty soon, hopefully before this episode airs.
Nice. Cool. Well, it was fun having you, Sam. I mean, you're here all the time, so it was just nice to break from normal tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Dad, it was fun having you here as well. Guys, like Sam says, we don't know what you're doing here because we're not talking about Lost. But like we always say, this isn't a Lost only podcast. The whole concept of Lost Legacies was to talk about things that we felt were either like underrated or just didn't really get the praise we deserved or whatever, yada yada. And that includes this movie, which is extremely underrated because it hasn't been released yet. It's still being made. Oh,
Can a thing be underrated if it's not finished yet?
Yeah, because nobody knows about it. I kind of feel like this is like Spaceballs, where it's just like, well, let's see how it happens. What has been made? It's just fast forward. And they fast forward the tape to see that in the movie. Yeah. So, guys, thanks for coming. Dad, we're going to have to bring you back for another proper Ask Dad where we're just going to throw you random questions and like see if you survive.
All right, bring it on. Bring it on, my friend. I'm ready.
Listeners, as you know, we're after Lost season 4 now, which I got all the episodes off my computer and onto a hard drive. Man, my computer is thanking me. Yeah, so now we're for the month we're kind of just chilling. We're just gonna be doing some talking. We might watch some movies. I think Sam and I are going to begin our Fast and Furious franchise watch. We're gonna take our time because the last movie comes out in like 2 years. Yeah. Supposedly the last movie. So we're gonna take our time, but maybe we could jump into the first one. So stick around. Stick around until we jump into season 5 of Lost next month. And you can always find us. Just use the hashtag Lost Legacies. I'm at Twitter at _Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Reel, that's REEL, Texas Weirdo.
And if you want to find Dad, just talk to either one of these guys.
Mm-hmm. And also, did you call your dad today? You should. Until next time, get lost.
Get lost.